Now, if you grew up watching Andy Griffith, you probably remember Aunt Bee's cooking more than anything else. Now, Mayberry was fictional, but it felt real because it reflected how America wanted to see itself in the early 1960s. Quiet streets, familiar faces, and a home-cooked meal waiting at the end of the day. So today, we're fixing Aunt Bee's famous fried chicken. We are paying tribute to Aunt Bee and the way that she done this, but I'm gonna jazz it up a little. I'm gonna add a few of the southern spices that were always included in there, and I'm gonna do something that's gonna give it that extra crispy crunch in every bite. And what is that? A double fry method. Now for the star of the show. What is it? The chicken who sacrificed it all to be here today to grace our table with extra crispy goodness and to thank Aunt Bee. Now, back when I was little and we went to the store, you bought a whole chicken. Or you raised it, one of the two. And you took it home and you cut your own chicken up. Now there's a lot of folks that still do that. And we did a video a long time ago and you can look back on it on a fried chicken video to where we actually show you how to cut up your own chicken. But if you don't want to do that, you can buy the assortment of chicken pieces that make a whole chicken. But I think Aunt Bee would have went to this extra time too to make sure that when Andy and Opie sat at that table, that it was going to be tender in every bite. So I think we need to marinate that chicken, probably like she did.
Wait, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Are you supposed to get it with the skin, leave skin on?
I like skin on the chicken, but when you're cutting them breasts out a lot of times because you're cutting it out of two separate, well, top and bottom cut, the skin's going to fall off it. The skin is on the legs, on the thighs, on the wings. I mean, it is doing its job right there, which is going to give it that extra crunch too. It sure helps. So we're talking about marinades, something to break meat down to make tender, but also give a little flavor. That starts with buttermilk, I think, when you're doing chicken or wild game, because what does the milk have in it? Lactic acid, which is going to break down meat some and make it tender. Now, when we mix this up, buttermilk base, smoked paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of salt. Stir it up, put that chicken in a pan, coat it really well. Now, I let this set 4 hours today, but preferably you're going to do this overnight because you really want to get all that flavor in there. But make sure when you get ready to cook it, you pull this fine little chicken out of the icebox and let it sit over there on the counter 1 hour before you start. It's going to help our cook time on the first fry. Time to mix up the flour, which is called in the Sheffield term of knowledge, the dredging material, okay? So we got flour, cornstarch. Now you're telling yourself, why are we going to put cornstarch in there? Cornstarch helps the flour stick to the batter. So in it goes, and it's about a 3/4 cup, which is probably about that much. Smoked paprika, one of my more favorite things it is. Garlic powder. After that, some onion powder. Dry mustard. I think it really does some really good for some fried chicken. It does. Some of our original seasoning and baking powder. To do what? To give it that extra pop on that crust where it will be jumping up there and thinking, oh my goodness. So in it goes. Whoa, come out a little fast it did. Give it a good stirring. The playing field is set. It is. But I'm going to give you a little tip here. It really makes a good thing even better. Some of this here marinade that was in there, we need to add some of it in here because it's going to give it that extra shaggy, crispy stuff. And if you're wondering how good that crunch is going to be right now, we did the ultimate fried chicken sandwich long time back. That crunch was heard around the world. You just stir all this up down really well. I always like to roll them over once before I put them in the dredging material. Just job them down in there, fold that flour over them, give them a mash because we want everything to stick. Give it a shake that first time, turn it over, give it some more. And when you're doing them wings, if you don't cut them in half, you know how sometimes you forget to spray under your arms and you go outside and people think, make sure you get some under them armpits. Rub it in really well, pat it down, and then just set her right there. Whew, I can hardly wait. Here come a thigh, he wanting to be next. Very important part here too, get you a wire rack. After you get through dredging it, put it out here, let it rest for 10 minutes. That's gonna help all this flour and all this good crustiness adhere to that batter in that chicken even better. And I try to stay away from them big old gigantuous chicken legs that's that big around. They take too long to cook and they nearly get burnt before you ever get them done. But I need to get the grease hot, so we need to get to going. Hey, before we go any further, I got some tips for you that are really gonna help. And I'd like to thank Chef's Temp for sponsoring this video. Because when you're frying chicken like this and you need to check oil temperature plus the doneness of your chicken, you need something that's going to do it fast, do it accurate, and something that you can rely on every time. And one of my favorite products of theirs is the Final Touch X10. And look at this, brand new design, patriotic colors it is, but they've got all different kinds of colors. Not only does it have a quick read, but it swivels all the way around to where you can check it anywhere you want to, and it'll give you an accurate reading. Check the oil temp. Check that chicken to see if it's done. This is gonna make you a better cook.
So do we have any brisket lovers out there? Or if you love to get in the backyard and smoke meats, you need to check out the Pro Temp 2 Plus. This is great for longer cook times. Put it in the grill, put it in your meat, forget about it, and it's done when you go and check it again. Be sure and check this one out.
So remember, check out the website there at Chef's Temp. They've got a lot of great products. But they've always been so generous and loyal to our fans, they are offering you a 20% discount on all their stuff they've got. So get you one of these, you'll be a better cook for it. Now I know if this was Aunt Bee's kitchen and she was cooking that chicken, it wouldn't show up on the table all by itself.
You're absolutely right, Kent. That is why I brought some friends to the kitchen.
There we go.
So, if we were in Aunt Bee's kitchen, Southern style kitchen, what are 2 sides that you must have with fried chicken?
Mashed potatoes and some green beans, maybe some gravy, a chocolate cake.
No, just 2. You just gotta pick 2.
Ain't Bee gonna lay a spread out there.
I only have room for 2.
Okay.
So first up, let's talk about green beans.
All right.
Because I have some tips for y'all. So my recommendations are fresh is great. Frozen is really my preferred just because it's easy. But you can also do this with canned. And my preference is to use Allen brand green beans.
Well, they're good.
Those are the best. All right. First thing you want to do actually is to mix your fat with your green beans first. The reason you do that, so you cook down your bacon, right? Yeah. And then add your green beans in and stir them around. That way, the fat adheres to the green beans better and it gives them more flavor. The next thing is, don't use water, although that was the traditional method.
Yes.
Add chicken broth, you could even use beef broth, to your mix to cook them in because, again,
and just give more flavor.
More flavor.
Yes, it does.
We need a title for this segment, like
More Flavor with Shan.
Cooking with Shannon.
Yeah.
Or Savory Flavors with Shannon. I need to, what is it?
Cooking the best sides, desserts, and bread with Shan.
That's too wordy. I don't know. Kent, the other thing is, don't stir these too often.
Well, they fall apart.
Yeah, if you keep stirring them, that's when they start to mush. It's not really the length of cooking that mushes them. It's because you want that good simmering action. Yeah. It's when you stir them constantly.
Bruising them.
Exactly.
Yes.
So don't do that. And then be sure, season them at the very end because as these cook, they're gonna change flavor. They're gonna pick up more of that bacon and that broth. So don't rush the seasoning. Right before you serve, or just a little bit before, that's when I like to season these.
There we go. All the best tips to cook green beans with the best looking thing I got in camp.
Now we can't forget our buddies, the mashed potatoes.
That's right.
I do have a couple things that I think really makes a difference with mashed potatoes. When you are cooking them, after you boil them and you drain them, put them back on low heat and remove the lid. That's gonna release the steam. That makes them not mushy.
Yep.
Do you like to use a masher or do you like to use an electric beater?
Well, for years and years on ranches, all I ever had was a masher, you know, and it's just butter and cream and keep mashing, get it smooth, you know. My favorite is probably a masher.
See, I think I liked the whipped action. So leave us a comment. Are you a masher or are you a whipper? Let us know.
Now, if you want to do this true Southern style, You need to fry this in some Crisco or some good hog lard. Got the oil in there, and we have got it preheated to about 330 degrees. Now we want this first fry to be about 325. So remember, 330, we put that chicken in, it's cold, it's going to drop a little. But we got to have something to check it with that is accurate, and that's why I tell you folks, you got to get one of these chef's temps. Them things will give you an accurate reading real quick. Not only are we going to use it for our oil temperature, but to check the doneness of our chicken. Now I like to start out with pieces that are similar in size, which is 2 wings. In they go. Don't overcrowd the boat. Things don't happen as well. Check your oil temp occasionally. You want to keep them maintaining that temperature of 325 degrees, and it doesn't hurt to flip that chicken over. We're not going to cook it till it's plumb done. We're going to cook that chicken till it reaches an internal temperature of 160 to 165. The Andy Griffith Show first aired in October of 1960, at a moment when America was changing. Television was getting louder, faster, and more dramatic. But Mayberry, it went the other direction. The show ran for 8 seasons, and during that entire run, it remained one of the most watched programs on television. In fact, it finished in the final season as #1, something almost no other scripted show has ever done. Andy Taylor played Andy Griffith. He almost never raised his voice. He carried no gun, and behind the scenes, Griffith was deeply involved in shaping the tone of the show. He pushed for slower pacing, quieter scenes, and humor that came from character instead of punchlines.
Aunt Bee, portrayed by Frances Bavier, cooked, worried, kept order, and yet she was rarely the focus of the story. That was deliberate. Her work was meant to feel constant and dependable.
And who can forget Barney Fife, played by Don Knotts? Barney carried a single bullet kept in his shirt pocket as a statement. The show was quietly saying that authority did not need force, and that common sense mattered more than firepower. Knotts earned 5 consecutive Emmy Awards, an achievement almost unheard of. Knotts often stayed after rehearsals to practice his pacing and nervous gestures, and most of his mannerisms were never scripted.
Though Mayberry was said to be in North Carolina, the show was filmed entirely in California. At the time, most sitcoms were using heavy laugh tracks and built-in punchlines. However, this show was calmer. And in 1968, the final episode aired, without a big farewell or a finale.
Don't quit me just yet. Y'all thought we was about through. Remember, I told you we was going to get that extra crisp flash fry time it is. Turn your oil temp up to 375 degrees. The reason you let this chicken set over here is we get rid of moisture, and that's what's going to help us get this extra crispiness right here at the end. So we'll put them 2 breasts in there right quick. Folks, this is pretty quick happening. Don't think you're going to go over there and talk to your neighbor and visit and everything else. We're going to flip these once or twice, pull them out. They're going to be done. Ooh, snouts, look at there. I think Aunt Bee would be so proud of what we done put on the table today. But before me and Mage take the crunch test, hey, that podcast is out on our YouTube channel that we're doing every Sunday. Be sure you catch it though on Spotify or Apple. Tune in, leave us a comment because it's something we're so excited to share with y'all. And today I'm not taking the crunch test. Major is. He has worked really hard. Mage, can you crunch that for me? Too crunchy, huh? Okay. I'll take that crunch test right here on this one right here. Well, I'll just do this leg.
Oh, I can hear it from here.
The crunch is so good, but that chicken is so tender, and that comes with the marinade. Shan's green beans with some bacon. Mashed taters. I think that's the way Barney danced. I ain't for sure, but I think it is. Well, we thank y'all so much for watching. And I've got so many comments from our community page where people are having some hard times and going through some struggles. Never forget, you're not alone. We are with you. God is with you. Hey, let us know what's going on. We'll sure lift you up in prayer, because every day is the best day it can be when you just take that step forward to help somebody else out. That's what it's all about. But again, I'd like to thank Chef's Temp for sponsoring this video. Make sure you check out their entire list of products on their website and remember that discount code and you use it. But I thank Andy and Opie, and even we invited Barney Fife over, and Aunt B would join with me now as we take our hat off and say, we salute all the servicemen and women and all the veterans that have kept that old flag flying from way back before Mayberry RFD to right here and always. We commend you all, we do. Rest of you, get on up in here really close. I'm gonna give you one of them Andy Griffith hugs, because I know it's gonna be, ooh, so good. God bless you each and every one, and we'll see you down the Aunt B I'm Gonna Cook Chicken Trail. Yeah, it's good and tender too, ain't it? Great flavor.
Oh my gosh.
Good fried chicken.
That is actually really good.
It is classic comfort food at its best. Good chicken.
Good job, Count. That was a good one.
You know, as we're sitting here, I remembered a line that I always heard when they was at the breakfast table or something, and Opie was fixing to go out the door, and Aunt B would out holler at him, Opie, you didn't drink all your milk. We sure can't put it back in the cow. You get in here and you drink it now.